On this episode of ResiWeek, Shell acquires Sonnen, Sonance and Sonos co-develop speakers, and the Nest Secure has a microphone and no one knew. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek episode 160, The Privacy Jugular.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Atlona, the go-to provider for AV signal distribution and control in corporate, higher education, and residential spaces.
Welcome to ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv, and today I'm pleased to be joined by Jason Knott. He is the senior editor of CE Pro. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining us. Then we have a newbie today, Ian Bryant. He is the senior director of technology, applications, and innovation at CEDIA. How are you, my friend?
Doing just fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And last but not least, we have Joe Whitaker. He is the president and owner of The Thoughtful Home. How you doing, Joe?
Doing well. Glad to be back on the show.
Thanks so much for being here. We're going to start this off with a story that comes to us from CE Pro. This came out last week, and it just was a touch too late to get on our show for last week. So we're going to talk about it this week. Shell acquires Sonnen, the home energy storage system. This is incredibly big news, for Sonnen, who is very strong in our AV industry channel, but also big for Shell, just big for the smart energy storage industry in general. And luckily for us, we have Michelle Mappel. She is the director of sales and marketing for Sonnen, here to talk about this with us this week. So thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the purchase. I wanted to jump into just a couple of quick questions. And again, thanks for making the time. Sonnen has been a fairly strong company coming out of Germany. They're doing a lot of very new and really innovative things. Shell, on the other hand, they're investing heavily in renewable energy and a lot of new energy initiatives. What brought Shell and Sonnen together?
Sure, it's a great question. And first of all, thanks for taking the time to bring us on the show. We're really excited to talk about this. We have had Shell as an investor in Sonnen, the global organization of Sonnen, since last year. And so they've been playing a role in looking at what Sonnen is bringing to the table. As you mentioned, we are very much innovators in the energy management space. And starting back in 2008, we really developed our first energy storage technology, and since then have gotten better, faster, stronger, smarter. The Shell New Energies group is the one who saw Sonnen as a real opportunity, and so for us, it's partnering with them to figure out. We now not only have intelligent energy management, but we've got intelligent energy automation, which we'll talk a little bit about and how that affects the home automation world. And we've also got virtual power plants. So we have these Sonnen communities where we are looking at not only how does an individual home control its energy, modify its energy, utilize energy, make sure it's got its own energy, including clean energy, but then how do we take that into a greater community and create these virtual power plants that can provide larger scale services and really helps modernize our existing grid infrastructure. So Sonnen really has been on the forefront of this. We are a leader in innovation, we're a leader in energy management, and we're really just getting started. So we see the partnership with Shell New Energies as an opportunity to take what we've already done and really scale it up globally. I mean, this is an investment in the entire global organization. They are going to be owning Sonnen. Sonnen will still remain Sonnen, so we will be independent. We will still have our chief executive officer globally, as well as we've got our management teams in various countries. But this is really an investment in growing us globally. And we're excited about it because it will take us to a whole scaling level that will change the way that Sonnen is really integrating throughout the world.
As Sonnen is currently, set up in its relationship to our channel and our industry, are there going to be, and again, you may not be able to answer this, but are there going to be any perceivable, changes or impacts on the way Sonnen is relating to, myself as an integrator going forward?
Absolutely not. I mean, that again, the whole point here is that Shell New Energies is investing in us because they see us as this company that has the ability to scale up. So they want us to become, stay our own entity and work directly with integrators. So for Sonnen US, it will not change. We will continue to work directly with integrators. We will continue to work through the business channels that we have. Again, it just gives us greater opportunity to, increase our R&D pipeline to go out and really increase the amount of energy management systems that are out there to look at new projects and new possibilities and scale up at a great level where we can really just take everything we've done and exponentially increase it. So we'll continue to work very closely with the integrators and home automation channel. And you guys are really on the forefront of, you've been in homes, you've been helping customers figure out how to manage energy. We're coming in with a cool, innovative way of taking that to a whole new level or a different level as well.
So let me ask you this. When we start looking at, Sonnen, and obviously this has been a huge investment for Shell, what is it so important about this shift to, residential energy storage and how it impacts, really our channel from the integration standpoint of being able to control and manage that beyond something as, as rudimentary as just flipping on a generator?
Sure. A couple things. You look at the landscape, and utilities as well as states and governments are figuring out how we integrate more clean energy and renewables into everything that we're doing. You have all of these renewable portfolio standards, as you guys have heard. California's got a goal to be 100% renewable energy. Hawaii has a goal. New York has a goal. So there are all of these policies out there that are being put into place. In addition to that, you've got the utilities that are looking into, okay, how do we incorporate renewables into our existing grid infrastructure? Because it was never built to do that. So what we do is we take the systems where you on the integrator side are saying, how do I take a homeowner and help them better manage their energy? What the Sonnen system will allow them to do is work directly with all the systems that you're already using with the homeowner, and it'll help them manage that to use it the right way at certain times of day, to use more solar to power those devices and those intelligent home management systems, to also then be able to, again, aggregate into larger communities so multiple houses can offset each other. And so again, it all leads back up into individual control at the homeowner, where you still get comfort, you don't sacrifice quality of energy, and they still are able to manage their home devices and the energy levels there. But then there's an added benefit for the greater utility, the greater communities, because now all of a sudden we're utilizing the energy resources we have better, whether it's solar resources or even just baseload resources that are generated at 2 a.m. that nobody necessarily needs at 2 a.m. Well, now we have an energy storage battery system that you can take that 2 a.m. energy, put it in a bunch of batteries, and then people can use that to power their homes in the morning. So it's again, just more effectively using resources that we have across the entire channel.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking a few moments to stay with us.
Of course.
If you have a second to hang out while we go around the panel, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
But if you do have to go, just give everyone a quick snippet on where they can get more information on Sonnen, et cetera.
Of course. Absolutely. You can visit us at sonnenusa.com. So it's SONNEN USA.com. Or you can email us at sales@sonnenusa.com. We are more than happy to talk about what we're doing, especially in the energy automation space. It's a real revolution. We are also doing an energy automation pioneer tour, which I know Jason has written about on CE Pro. There's also a calendar of dates on CE Pro that show where these energy automation shows are coming to a town near you. So check that out and see. They are absolutely informational. So come learn about energy automation, learn about storage, learn about Sonnen, how we work with you and solar installers, and how we really are trying to bring this whole new revolution to the table. So those are a couple ways that you can find out more about Sonnen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Again, if you have a moment to
of course,
hang out, that'd be great. Jason, I wanted to come to you first with this, specifically because you wrote the wonderful article that we're using here. I personally have been a big fan of Sonnen for quite a while. Full disclosure, I am a Sonnen dealer as well. But what I wanted to ask you was, we look at this within the industry. We look at this as a huge deal, not so much just because it's Sonnen, but because it's Shell jumping into somebody who is so strong in the smart home automation side. Is it as big of a deal as we think it is? Or is it just a big deal because we're in this channel and we look at this as a big deal?
No, I think it's a very big deal. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that are going on in this energy automation space are niche right now. Just so you could make the same argument with the wellness space and some of these other categories. But 7 or 8 years ago, so were shades and some of these other categories that integrators are so heavily engaged with now. And I think Michelle maybe even understates it a little bit in my conversations with her and with Blake there. They were saying how it's amazing that a lot of the utilities didn't even know that the CEDIA channel exists.
It's true.
They don't even know about integrators. They don't know that there's this whole group of community out there that can take what they're doing on the utility side and integrate it at the smart home level. And the integrators, I don't think, recognize the key position that they are in right now to take advantage of this space. Whether that's combining, electric cars. We don't think there's going to be more electric cars, 10 years from now or 20 years from now. Think about that element of it, but then talk about what we're doing with climate control, shade control, lighting control. The fixture category is so hot right now for integrators. Based upon this and based upon my conversation, I kind of threw out there that integrators really should seriously be looking at obtaining a line voltage electrical license for their company, either under their purview or hiring somebody who works with them closely, because they really are the key intersection point that's taking place here. So again, the caveat being that I recognize that it's a niche market right now, but I do think it's going to be a very big deal. And Shell being part of it makes it even much more prevalent and prominent than it is right now.
Very good.
Absolutely. Well, and just to echo on what Jason's saying, we hear the value from utilities. We sit at the table with utilities and we talk about what is this energy automation delivered, all the way down to the device level in the home, all the way up to controlling the entire home and really just helping utilize and mitigate energy usage during certain times of day. I mean, our communities are exactly designed for that. Certain times of day, the homes can basically be off grid, more or less, or go invisible to the grid. And that's a really big value stream for the utilities. And they're becoming more aware of there are a lot of opportunities to get into that homeowner level. So you're right, the integrator channel, you guys have a lot of opportunity and power here.
Very good. Ian, along that same line, how do we as an industry, how do we go after this kind of market, which to a degree, it's within our purview. It's stuff that we know how to automate. We know how to deal with that, but it's line voltage. It's power. It is a completely, it's the same vertical, but it's a completely different vertical. How does the industry really know how to go after that?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is going to be partnering up with other local trades, or what we were talking about a minute ago, which is trying to get your line voltage certification, get someone on staff that is electrical tradesman. We're already, like you were saying, we're already in the space. We're already doing lighting control. We're already doing energy management, but this is just taking it to another level. And what I wanted to really point out was if you see in the news recently, we have the Green New Deal that was trying to get put together. The quote unquote Green New Deal that's being proposed right now may not happen, but it gives you an idea of where we're going with energy management and conservation. And this flows. I was really excited actually when I heard about this acquisition and taking Sonnen to a whole nother level. It's going to allow our integrators to get in, but we have to take the initiative to get into that space as quickly as possible. Otherwise, someone else will jump into it because it's going to happen one way or another.
Joe, everyone's pretty much talked around the fact that to get into this space, we need to, get a line voltage certification. We need to be certified electricians. We need to bring somebody on staff. that has been something that, you know, we've butted heads with the electrical industry for a really, really long time. How do integrators scale up, and, you know, whether it's becoming, you know, you yourself getting your electrical license or bringing somebody on, how do you scale up appropriately to allow your company to not only have an EC license, but be able to keep that person busy? Because it's not worth it to bring an EC on and have him pull speaker cable. He's got to be doing line voltage. So as this industry is ramping up, and, you know, Sonnen is great, but I don't know, I know for myself, I can't have an electrician doing Sonnen every day of the week, as much as Michelle would love that. We're not there yet.
and revenue wise, we would too. I mean,
yeah. How do you do that? How do you scale up?
You know, I don't know. I haven't figured it out. No, seriously. I'll answer that. But first, I want to say congratulations to the guys over at Sonnen. I mean, they were the very first one that does what they do to embrace our industry. They were first. And to this day, you really only have two that embrace this at all. So congratulations to you guys, but then big kudos to Shell for recognizing one of two things. When you're a big producer of fossil fuel and we're all to the race of zero, somebody has to figure out how to not only push the envelope to the race to, you know, zero footprint or negative footprint, but also how to monetize that on a corporate level, or it will never become successful. So huge kudos to Shell for stepping that foot in and saying, we recognize this is important, we're going to be behind it, and we're going to make it profitable for not just the big corporations, but all those guys down the chain to the bottom, to the end user. So, you know, big kudos to them, and congratulations to Sonnen.
Thank you.
I'll get back to Matt's question. It's a very tricky scenario, especially when other portions of our industry are changing as fast as they are. When we get into PoE and low voltage lighting, we kind of don't need an electrician as much as we used to provide lighting and those kind of things. The value is coming down. And then for me to justify the value of to have that license, it can't be an apprentice or a journeyman. It has to be somebody at the master's level, which that wage is, well, kind of dictated by a union. So there's things that are forced upon me to evaluate. Can I take a guy that it's mandatory that he's in the $60 to $85 an hour range? Can I justify that in my company to provide two pieces of my entire puzzle? As we're moving forward, I actually honestly think the answer is going to be yes. And we are currently looking at that right now. The big problem is those people are hard to find because those are primaries within electrical companies or people within that level, and they are not going to go because of the fear on their side, the opposite of our fear. They have the fear of the plug-in things that talk and technology, and you look at any makeup of an electrical business, it is put in a switch that goes on and off. I don't have service calls, and I walk away. Ours is much more involved with the consumer in a lifelong relationship, which they're not used to. So we ourselves are trying to figure out how to bridge that gap because we see the need because of Sonnen and because of things going on in lighting, that it has come to the point where for any company in our industry to be successful, bridging the gap with electrical and security is becoming a have to. We've already done the security portion. Now we're working on the electrical portion because we want to do more with companies like Sonnen. And we want to do more with companies like Ketra and others where, well, all of a sudden we need an electrical license. But it is the future of our industries as a whole and those trade contractors that to provide that best, we have to bring those things together. And this big partnership, this big acquisition is proof right here.
Very good.
Well, and just one quick build on both what both Joe and Ian said. We understand that we are merging together multiple industries here, and our solar guys know solar, our electrical team knows electrical, you guys know home automation, and in many ways, everybody's asking the same questions. I don't know that I want to jump full into home automation because I don't understand the integrator business, and that seems daunting. And the integrators are saying, well, I'm not sure that I want to jump into solar because I'm not sure that I want to put panels on the roof. So what we're really seeing is an opportunity to matchmake in the current state, where we're literally saying we've got good solar guys and good electrical guys and great integrators. Let's matchmake these. Realize that the business model is there, the business cases are there, the industry is there, and then we're seeing some of these folks rise to the top and say, you know what, I'm ready to take this all on myself. I want to be an integrator who does solar plus electrical, so I'm going to take this to a whole different level. But it's that comfort of getting there. To your points, that is part of what we like to do. Is we're in the middle, so we're trying to matchmake, because we talk to all of you all. And then we also try to merge you together because we have a full applications engineering support system at Sonnen. And our sole job is to say, what are you putting into this house? And is it solar plus storage plus home automation? Great. We've got a team that'll help you figure out how to do this the right way and walk you through the first 3, 4, 5, 10 projects if you want. So it's really, we like to be in the middle helping facilitate that as well, because we know it's a brand new, energy automation is a brand new industry, but we're innovators, we're not going to stop. So our goal is to keep helping the innovations become bigger and better.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you again for hopping on. Again, if people want to find out more information about Sonnen, where can they do that?
They can come to sonnenUSA.com. It's SONNEN USA.com. So thank you so much for having us. We are thrilled to move forward in this industry and help bring energy automation to the world in a better way, and help you guys innovate as far as being innovators yourselves. So we're excited to partner with you.
And Michelle, sign me up for that. You had me at matchmaker.
Done. We will get you into the dating pool.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next story of the day. This comes to us from Residential Tech Today. Sonance has unveiled its first premium architectural speakers for the Sonos amp. If you were unaware, Sonance and Sonos have had a deal that they are working together and have been working together for quite a while now, where they co-developed a line of in-speaker, in-wall, and outdoor speakers that work directly and are designed for the Sonos amp that was released back in the late fall and just went general availability about a couple of weeks ago. This is a really fairly big deal. And Ian, I wanted to start with you. This is something that for the longest time, Sonos was a company that, for the most part, made a bunch of speakers. And they were really just speakers. Yes, they had Connect amp and Connects that tied it into other things. But for the majority of people, they were using Play 1s, Play 3s, Play 5s. That was what they did. And the Connect amp was kind of their olive branch to our industry and to people that were doing things separately. Now that they've got this line of actual speakers that they work together to develop, does this cement their connection to our industry and desire to realize that, yeah, we want to take advantage of all these cool things that AMP does, and the fact that you now actually have speakers that let us do that really raises that bar? Am I reading too much into this?
No, not at all. I agree. Sonos has tried for a while to make sure that they're seen as more than just a black box kind of Best Buy do-it-yourself solution. They have a really awesome streaming unit that is, once they open the API up, it can be integrated into large integration systems, which is awesome. But I think that they did realize, hey, we're missing out on a large channel, and the fact that they're expanding into more than just the wireless speaker is definitely a big. They're showing commitment, and it's pretty exciting. I think what the options that we were going to have now, where you can do an entire system with Sonos. No, I couldn't agree more. It's not huge, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and it's important.
Very good. Joe, as soon as I saw this come up, I got excited.
Is this why you asked me to come on last minute?
Not exactly.
Because of this story?
No, but it worked out really, really well. You might have started a hashtag called Sonos Doesn't Care. You might have had a lot of conversations, and that was not, if you look at my notes, this is not at all the question I had for you, but I'm going to kind of twerk it as a side note into it based off what Ian said.
Oh.
This is one of those things that I was at the initial, press announcement for AMP. I was there. I had a lot of in-depth conversations with the folks at Sonos about how they're really trying to change the perception within the industry. They're trying to grow that. You and I have had countless conversations about how companies like Sonos are working within our channel. The real question I had for you on this was more surrounding TruePlay and the ability to use that with the new Sonance speakers to allow, integrators to really tune multi-room audio, which is something that nobody else really does. But I wanted to kind of extend that and get into that question of, does that give them a dramatic advantage over any other multi-room system that's out there right now? But more importantly, does that just continue to, kind of like what I asked Ian, does it just continue to show that they realize that there's a huge community of people that are trying to do fully integrated systems, and having this as a true option is so much better than what the Connect Amp was with just any pair of speakers? Because this is supposed to, and I'm still waiting on my in-ceilings to show up to test this out, but this is supposed to make this system sound, in theory, better than anybody else's.
So, I do have to give a lot of credit to Andrew and Chris over at Sonos. They have slowly and successfully started winning me back after all of that stuff. The partnership, I think, is what's unique about it, because if you break it down into the technology as it sits, you've seen Sonance start to develop this way in the past. First thing we ever saw was the Sonarray, and the way they use, wattages and ohms to be able to use stereo pairs to support multi-speaker platforms. And taking this into something like a Sonos is like a match made in heaven. Because if you look at the tech, they say a single amp can support up to 6 speakers. Now, that's kind of backwards because we all like independent zones. However, this gives much bigger coverage and dispersion. So that's kind of the magic word in this, Matt, is the ability to disperse more quality audio. I think that's where their attitude of this does sound better than other things out there, because they've changed the way you can disperse audio within a room. First, with the amount of speakers. Second, with speakers that are perfectly built and paired for amps and watts. And the last thing is TruePlay. And I've said this to a handful of manufacturers: please stop sending me or prepackaging Odyssey microphones. Just stop. Because my iPhone has 5 to 7 noise canceling microphones in it. It has, depth and direction and all of these other kind of things. That's one of the things that Sonos did so well with TruePlay. But now you can take it to an architectural facet where it's not, we're EQing a whole room in an architectural fashion. That's huge. Mm-hmm. Because I don't care what anybody who does some high-end calibration in a lot of these rooms, the tech inside this little phone is better than what most of us use at the end of the day. But it's all about software analytics and all of that, which Sonos has kind of pioneered. So that's the portion that I think is big. Having some speakers that are branded to work with an amplifier it's been done and done and done and done. However, tying the tech part, the analytic part, the configuration part, and all that together, that's actually a really big deal. And for it to come from Sonos to benefit our industry, it's a huge deal, because not only are they listening to us on the product side, they're listening to us on the back end of the engineering side as well, giving us something no one gives us.
Yeah.
I'll just add in that I think it's a brilliant move by Sonos, because they, as you say, by partnering with Sonance, which is a company that's dedicated to this channel, They're, as you say, cementing their relationship with the channel. They're also addressing the margin issue, which has been an issue at the dealer level. So they're committing to the channel. They're addressing the margin issue. And remember, they already have the number one multi-room audio and number one wireless speaker, and not even number one subwoofer being used by integrators, which I think when you look at it, unless they started making moves like this, the only way they could go is down, because there was just more companies that were going to be coming in and attacking that space, because so many dealers carry Sonos not because they want to, but because they have to.
Well, Jason, let me ask you this, just to expand on that for a second. They've added essentially 3 more SKUs, which doesn't double their SKUs, but it's 25% more.
For them, that's significant.
Yeah, it's 25% more SKUs than they've had in the past. You order them as a dealer, you order them direct from them. You can't buy them through Sonance. If you're a Sonance dealer, you can't get these unless you're also a Sonos dealer. There's been hints of more products coming down the pipe. Is this all driven by their desire to expand their market and do all those normal things that we expect companies to do and expand their, desirable factor within our channel? Or is this all, I hate to drill it down to something this simplistic, but is this all stock driven? Is this all the fact that they are now a public company and they've got to continue to grow and expand to keep those shareholders happy?
Absolutely, that's part of it. I'm sure they have to continue to grow to feed the stockholders, and they've been very innovative. Let's not slight that they have not. They've been a very innovative company all along. But you're right, they're going to have to continue to grow and expand. They hinted in their latest quarterly call that there would be even more innovation and more product expansion. They didn't say what categories or where, but I think that's part of it.
Excellent. All right, gentlemen, let's get on to our last story of the day, and then we'll wrap this up. This comes to us from strategy.com. Oops, Google might have forgotten to mention that they built in a microphone into their Nest Secure. Just a slight little whoops, we forgot. Joe, I want to start with you on this. Seriously, who decides to put this in and then doesn't put it anywhere on a tech spec or on a patent filing or on anything else? Like, we're in a tech world where every little thing is scrutinized. How has this existed within a product and never been mentioned for 6 to 8 months now, and all of a sudden it's found? How's that happen?
Oh man, that's one of those ones like an Echo Dot has a video board on it. A lot of people don't know this. It would support HDMI. Do they talk about it? No. So I could kind of see, except for it's a microphone. You like straight to the privacy jugular, like right there. How do you not do that? Well, you didn't announce any features. We don't know if the thing's really been working or not. I don't know how you miss that and what the long-term implications are going to be for branding for them, because it is something that has to do with privacy built into their security platform. Like, epic fail on so many different levels. But it goes back to one of those things that we see happen with a lot of companies like them, Amazon, Sonos, blah, blah, blah. What happens on the engineering side, unless it is a big wow, doesn't trickle down to marketing and outreach. It could have all these other bells and whistles, but if it's not the thing that marketing says, oh, I can sell it based on this, nobody ever knows, because we all know marketing writes the press releases, outgoing tech documents, white papers, all of these things for those types of consumer companies. So it is a big fail in communication, if that's really what happened. Do I believe that's what happened? Honestly, I don't. I think they engineered something with all the things that they can use later on, and for firmware updates and other things that they want to do. But as a corporation, there was the fear of letting it be known that that's actually in there. Even if it wasn't used, the fact that it has a microphone under initial shock with IoT security could have been detrimental to the release. So I think that was a little bit of, maybe somebody will figure it out, maybe somebody won't. We might get lucky. Unfortunately, the luck fell the other way.
Very good. Jason, privacy is something that everyone is always dramatically concerned about. This seems to be a huge fail, in Joe's words, to not disclose the fact that there's a microphone, whether or not it was recording or not. That probably will never be truly determined. Does this hurt Nest or Google in any way, or is this something that will just exist until the next news cycle and the next Google issue or success comes up?
I mean, honestly, remember when they had the misstep when the Nest Secure Smoke Detector first came out? There was some sort of a wave command, and they had to end up turning it off, and nobody even remembers that anymore. I think it'll be forgotten. But I go back to the CEDIA keynoter a couple of years ago, who emphasized that integrators will be paid more. I think he put a 5-year time frame on it. In 5 years, you will be paid more by your clients to keep your clients off the internet than you're being paid now to get them on it. So it's just another kind of example there. I'm one of those benefit of the doubt guys, whether they just forgot to do it, as Joe said, a miscommunication with the marketing. I don't know. I maybe that's true. Maybe there's something more insidious there. I'm not sure.
Very good. Ian, I'll give you the last word on this as we close out the show. Obviously, Google's whole corporate philosophy is don't be evil. This may or may not have violated that. But more importantly, how do HTPs deal with this in the situation where they've sold it or they've got a client who's gone out and purchased it and asked for some help in install or whatever? How do HTPs get in front of this type of situation? Is there anything they can do?
Well, actually, I was really excited to talk about this. Yeah. Well, I first I have to say, are we really that surprised by this? And secondly, does the majority of people actually, is it really their first concern at the end of the day? Most people aren't really even concerned or even remember that the fact that they're getting Amazon ads that are from things that they've said earlier that day. Microphones are always listening. So I don't think, it is a big deal, but I think I'm wondering what the repercussions are further down the road with everything, sensors on everything. Yeah. Are we going to be now having to be more scrutinizing on every single device that we put in our home and checking every single sensor? And that is maybe where the HTPs are going to have to really inform their clients on. Now, it's going to be hard, obviously, if something like this, where if you had sold this and set it up in your client's home and no one knew that there was a microphone in it, we unfortunately cannot protect. The HTPs can't be at fault because it wasn't even disclosed. Mm-hmm. But it goes into one thing that we can do of the knowing the security risks that are out there, knowing how to protect our clients through a robust network with a high security level. So we're making sure we're protecting our clients' data the best that we can. And then the other thing I wanted to point out with this is down the road, Rich Green did a talk at ISE on the CEDIA stage about the spatial web. It was just an email that came out today that is talking about it. And one of the things that he predicts shortly, with all of our phones and all of our devices collecting data on us, eventually we will get to a point where we will be able to own our own data, and then we can sell that data to the manufacturers and everyone that wants to acquire that. through, and he goes through a really great thought process about how we can do that with blockchain and making it secure, and that we own all of the data that we have. But HCPs are just, I think the biggest thing is security, and helping your clients protect their data and with their devices inside of their homes.
You know, Ian, I want to back that up by saying I did a CEDIA talk at KBIS and IBS, specifically to home builders, designers, and architects about, those IoT security implications and that kind of thing. And it was exactly what you said. They know that is a concern and that's an issue. And we've come to the point where people are really starting to look at how can we help this situation? I mean, it's real now. It's in their face. They are talking with a friend about whatever it is around their phone, and all of a sudden their Facebook feed is full of shampoo and conditioner, and they just are like, that's what they were talking about. You're absolutely right. The next couple of years, that security, securing our clients is going to be big for us, and we are going to be the people they look to do that.
Excellent. All right, gentlemen, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us today. Jason, if people want to connect with you, learn more about CE Pro, where can they do that?
They can go to cepro.com, or they can follow me on Twitter at JasonWNutt.
Excellent. Thanks again for being here. Ian, thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you had a wonderful first-time experience with us. If not, don't tell me any different. If people want to connect with you, learn more about CEDIA, where can they do that?
They can go to cedia.org. You can follow me on Twitter at ibryant20, or email me at ibryant@cedia.org.
Excellent. Thanks again for joining us. Joe, my good friend, if people want to connect with you, learn more about The Thoughtful Home, The Thoughtful Restaurant, The Thoughtful Bake Shop, The Thoughtful My Little Pony, where can they do that?
So you can always find us on the good old Facebook at The Thoughtful Home, on Twitter at Thoughtful Home, and you can always find me involved in the amazing things that are being done at CEDIA.
Excellent. Thanks again, gentlemen, for joining us. For myself, if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Twitter at Matt D. Scott and many other social platforms. But more importantly, please stop by AVNation.tv, where you'll find this show as well as a wide variety of our other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you support them as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek.